I want to start with the simple part of Bitcoin here because, again, a lot of people hear this stuff and their eyes glaze over. And
Sure.
look, I think part of it is, it's two things. Number one, we have a lack of financial literacy in this country and around the world, for that matter. And this is more finance, and it's a little more complicated too. And number two, because everything in the crypto space, so to speak, in that stratosphere, touts itself as transparent, and it is, with what you can know about where it exists, what's on the blockchain, all that stuff that some people are like, what the hell is he talking about? But basically, you can go look at this stuff in ways that you can't look at it in a traditional banking system. But because of all that, when people go to look at it, they're like, what the fuck? Because it's so much. And they're like, I don't get it. And that's been a big resistance point. And I think that the crypto space, one of the things that they seem to be getting a little better at, but they still have a long way to go, is that unlike Silicon Valley, who, when that was really growing, found a way to match the marketers with the genius and then take it to the everyman. In crypto, all the genius is there. That is so clear. But the messaging to take it all to the everyman has not been as effective as Silicon Valley eventually got it. It's still early here. But when I look at this, like we were talking about Ethereum. I don't know if that was on the podcast or right before, but then you start getting into things like that and people are really like, all right, you're losing me. What is it? So with Bitcoin, let's just completely start there right now.
Sure.
This is something that was created on October 1st, 2008 by Satoshi Nakamoto. And then I want you to take it from there and kind of walk through just the beginnings of it and what the general concept was for people to understand.
So Bitcoin was created in 2008, 2009 by a pseudonymous creator named Satoshi Nakamoto. The title of the Bitcoin white paper is Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So, from the get-go, the premise has always been, send anyone, anywhere in the world, any amount of money at a low cost. So if you're sitting in New Jersey or New York, with Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, folks can send funds, around the world with, no permission, no authorization required from any third party.
Bitcoin was the only one at first, though, right?
Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency. There's actually been attempts to create other cryptocurrencies before, but Bitcoin was certainly the the first, let's say popular cryptocurrency. There's other attempts called, by David Chaum called, Hashcash. I forget if that's the right name, but
that was in like the 90s.
Yeah, there's been all these, there's been a kind of cryptography movement since the 80s or so, and it started getting applied to money eventually. But so basically, Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency. It's also the first application of blockchain technology, which is effectively a distributed ledger that a number of nodes, number of participants in the network maintain.
Okay, let me stop you real quick. And sometimes, today, we're going to do this just because it is a little more complicated. I don't like breaking up the flow of convo, but I just want to make sure we define stuff. So with the blockchain, that is, for all intents and purposes, for a third grader to understand it, it is computer code that is unhackable. And it creates a ledger, as you said. It creates a record, to use another word, of transactions that happen, in this case with Bitcoin involving money, which is Bitcoin, that then cannot be changed, and they are there as without any third-party interference.
That's right. So it's a cryptographically or mathematically enforced system where the blockchain is maintained by a number of distributed nodes. So in order to change it, you would need to change the copy of the blockchain on all these different nodes, which is really impossible. So, through this distributed network, it's able to kind of maintain itself, and it's certainly immutable. Blockchain cannot be changed. I think of blockchain a lot like the internet or electricity, where the blockchain is like a thin technology that can be applied to a lot of different industries. So think of blockchain can be applied to finance, it can be applied to logistics, it can be applied to the music industry, a number of different industries. Now in the early days, it's finding some product market fit with, finance applications and things that involve money and things like this. But we'll likely see more applications gain steam in the coming years.
How could you apply it? I mean, it's hard enough understanding the money part. And for the average person listening, how can you apply blockchain to, say, one of the examples you gave, maybe music or whatever example is easiest for you to explain.
At a high level, you can think of the blockchain in the music industry, how it could be used to automate, revenue shares between artists and, other participants, players in the industry. So
basically, like being able to track statistics on how far music spreads.
Sure. Yeah, no, definitely. And there's actually some example I have that's in production today and is being used on the network on Ethereum today. So there's a concept called NFTs. NFTs are actually related to Axie, which I was just talking about, which they use NFTs, but NFT stands for non-fungible token. It's basically a crypto collectible. So think of a baseball card that has a digital representation on the blockchain. So there's a number of initiatives with these NFTs today. You actually have partnerships with the NBA, MLB that have started delving into this space, and there's a lot of interesting work being done. But
what about classic art? I'm just thinking about the same application. So you have all these paintings that people supposedly own, and now they could prove it.
So there's this NFT art coming around on a number of different platforms, and what I'm getting at is they're automating basically attribution with NFTs. So every time the art trades, the artist is paid a certain amount. So I think they can set it when they kind of publish it or kind of create the art, but they set it 5% or 10%, and they can always receive some sort of revenue from this art that they've created. So it's a super interesting concept.